Hi guys, welcome back to another video tutorial. So in this tutorial we'll be going through another trigonometric identity question on how to solve one for the new AS Pure Maths syllabus. Now the previous video tutorial that I put was on how to solve an equation which involved sine and cos. So if you haven't watched that, I would say go and watch that first as well. That will help you out, but you know, tan is a bit different to that previous one. But with the tan, in my opinion anyway, I would say this is the easiest in terms of how to find the value of theta as opposed to the other two if you have cos and sine. And I'll show you how to do this. So especially in tan, I'm not sure if you already know, but all you have to do with tan is just add 180 and take away 180 once you find the value of theta. So I'll show you this and hopefully you'll take something from this video. And again, if there's anything you don't understand, put it down in the comments, and if you do understand it and actually you understand how to do the question, give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate this, as it means that I know that it's helping you guys and I can produce more content. Right, let's get straight to the question. So the question is asking, solve the equation tan squared theta minus 2 tan theta to tan theta equals 10, and we have the range between 0 to 360. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to get this equation into a quadratic, so bring everything on one side. So I'm just going to bring that 10 to the left hand side. Okay, so we have tan squared theta minus 2 tan theta minus 10 equals 0. And now what I'm going to do, again, if you're not quite sure how this looks like, you can always write it in terms of x. So this looks like basically x squared minus 2x minus 10 is equals to 0. Can you see that? And all we have to do is just factorize this. So because there's no number before the tan, whoops, I forgot the theta here. Because there's no number before the tan squared theta, all I have to do is just put into two brackets. That's it, right? So I'm going to have tan theta, and then I'm going to have another tan theta, and I want two numbers that multiply gives me minus 10 and two numbers that I add gives me minus 2, right? So I know that's going to be what? Minus 5 and plus 3. Not plus 3, plus 2. Ooh, that's not going to work. Yeah, that's not going to be factorizable. Okay, so that would be minus 10. So that's okay. So we're gonna have to use quadratic formula or completing the square. Okay, for some reason there I just thought you'd be able to factorize it, but okay. Right, so we're gonna have to factorize because there's no two, well, 5 and 2 is the only two numbers, but that's not gonna give you 2 here. So what we need to do is, if you want, you're going to have to, you can either use quadratic formula or completing the square to solve this. So I'm just going to complete the square here. So if I complete the square, you don't need to complete the square like this. You can do completing the square like this. So basically what I'm saying here is I'm saying x is equals to tan theta. Okay, so if we complete the square, x becomes x. We halve this, so that's going to be minus 1, whole thing squared, minus 10 minus the square of 1, which is just 1, equals to 0. So now you have x minus 1 whole thing squared, that's going to be minus 11 equals 0. So x minus 1 whole thing squared, bring minus 11 to the other side, positive 11. So x minus 1, to get rid of the square, is going to be plus and minus square root 11. And then x is equals to 1 plus and minus square root 11. But remember, what we said was x equals tan theta. So now we're not going to have x, we're going to have tan theta is equals to 1 plus and minus square root 11. Does that make sense? And now what we're going to do, we have two solutions. So we have tan theta is equals to 1 plus square root 11. So you can say, if you find the answer to that, so 1 plus square root 11, that's going to be 4.32. Okay, so one of our solution is tan theta is equals to 4.32. That's one. And then the other one, we have tan theta is equals to 1 minus square root 11. Okay, so if you do 1 minus square root 11, that's going to give you minus 2.32. Now remember what you need to do, so let me just write that here, tan theta is equals to minus 2.32. Right, that's the other one. Now what you need to do is find the value of theta, right? So if I put this as step 1, okay, here, and if I write step 2 here, I know it's a bit kind of it should be step 1, step 2. So your two values of theta, so you have tan theta equals 4.32. Now let's find theta for this, right? So if I want to find theta for this, I do inverse tan of that, right? So inverse tan of 4.32. and that's going to give you 76.96, so let's say 77 degrees. Okay, so theta is 77 degrees. Now remember, you want this in the range of 0 to 360. All you have to do with tan is you just keep adding 180 until it falls within this range, or you take away 180 until it falls within this range. So what I'm going to do to 77 is I'm going to add 180 to get my next angle, right? So 77 add 180, that's going to be 257 degrees. Okay, now if I add 180 to that again, would that give me 360 or above 360? That's going to give me above 360, so I don't need to add that. So my angle for theta for this one, right, is going to be 77 and 257. Now if you don't understand why I'm adding 360, sorry, 180s, well, it's basically because of the tan graph. So your tan graph is going to be something like that, right? Again, this is not accurate, but what happens is there is a gap of 180. It's shifting by 180. So this is 0, this is 180, and then it's 360. 180, 180, yeah, that's 360. So it's shifting by 180, hence why I'm adding 180. So that's why, once you got 77, you add 180, you get your next angle, and that's within the range. Now, if we do the same thing, so if I take now step 3, and if I do the same thing now with that one, tan theta is equals to minus 2.32, and if I find theta, so inverse tan of minus 2.32, that's going to give you minus 66.68, so minus 66.7. Okay, now obviously this is not in the range of 0 to 360, but for me to get this in the range, my next value, I'm going to add 180. So if I do minus 66.67, or 0.7 should I say, add 180, okay, so if I add 180 to that, that will give me 113.3. Okay, I know, so that's one value, but I also know if I add another 180, it will still fall within the 360 range. So then if I do 113.3 add 180, so if I add 180 again, that's going to give me 293.3, and if I add 180 again, that's going to give me way above 360. Okay, so that's my other angle. So my angle for this one, for theta for this one, then is going to be 113.3 degrees, and the other one is 293.3 degrees. So your final answer, when you write this, you're going to combine them. So your angle is going to be 77 degrees, it's going to be 113.3 degrees, and it's going to be 257 degrees, and it's going to be 293.3 degrees. And that's your final answer. Okay, so I hope you understand how you find the angle. So once you have tan theta equals something, find the inverse, and then all you're doing is adding 180 until it falls in the range, within as long as it falls within the range. And if it doesn't fall within the range, you don't add it. You don't include it. So that is all you do in tan graph. You don't even need any graph or anything. You just should know, okay, a tan graph, it goes up by 180 and it goes down by 180. Hence why we're adding and taking away 180. But in this case, we're just adding. Okay, so if there's any questions here that you don't understand, well, if there's any questions or doubts here, just put it down in the comments and I will help you guys out. And until then, I shall see you on the next one. And again, yes, put any topics that you guys feel like you need help with, any kind of topics that you feel like you're struggling with, or any questions, put it down below, and I'll try and get back to you and try and help you guys out. Okay.